go. Okay. As you know, this is our weekly call. Every Friday morning at 10 a.m. we talk about the MX system itself, any new functionality on the program, resources, tips and tricks. We talk about market updates, mills and supply. We invite industry guests as our speakers. And this week we have a really unique and a great speaker. Her name is Susan Kirts. She is the head of purchasing for Henry Pora Lumber. I think you're going to enjoy her interview very much. I spoke with Susan yesterday, and she brings a lot of knowledge to the industry and a really unique perspective. We had a nice conversation about the buy and sell side that I know we'll drill down on a little bit here today. So Susan, welcome and thank you for coming. Just a reminder on some housekeeping. So we do our Lumber Live session each Thursday at 12:30 EST. Matt Lehman and Ashley do live conversations and interviews on what's going on in the marketplace. A couple of screenshots from that. You'll see all sorts of forecasts and you'll see all sorts of information. And most importantly, I just wanted to remind you that you can find all of these interviews that we've been doing on a weekly basis at our LinkedIn Materials Exchange site. And you can just go right to the Materials Exchange listing here on LinkedIn, and down below you'll see, let me go back there, sorry about that. Down below you will see all of the various different sessions that we've run before in the past, and please help yourself to those. So we made an announcement, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, about a new live conference that we're going to be running called the New Frontiers Conference. We're going to run it in Chicago. We deferred the date until the fall. We're going to run this in October 27th through October 29, when we have a little bit more of a chance we get COVID behind us and people can travel a little bit more freely. So look for more information on that. It's going to be an exciting conference, and we'll give you more information as we go on that. The agenda for that will be a check-in on Wednesday afternoon. We'll do an industry roundtable and kind of an industry change agent roundtable conversation. All day Thursday, we'll have speakers. We'll have an evening event at the Revolution Brewing, a dinner and a brewery tour there. On Friday morning, we'll do our first ever live SmartMarket live call. That ought to be exciting. And then we will end up with kind of a roadmap of where our system is going, future enhancements that are coming down the road, and then most importantly, to get user feedback from our members that are both in the room and dialed into this session as well. So look for more information on that conference. Again, we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks here, a new system enhancement, what we call our active markets, point and shoot. And we are now open on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. Central Time. And again, it gives you the ability to select items that are all listed on the exchange and then paste them or point and shoot into your system, into each one of your locations. I'm actually going to do a short demo on this right now, just to kind of show you how this works. So if I am in my watch list right now, and you can see that I'm in my Boston location, and you'll see that I have a short watch list built here. I've got some 2x4, 8-footers, 16s, 12s, 14s, and 10. That's my Boston location. If I look at my Albany location, you'll see that I have a watch list built there with a number of items, and someone has their hand in the air and is offering some SPF 2 and better 2x4 8s at 1666. And of course, there's some 2x4 10-footer at 1516. So this is what you see in your various watch lists that you have built yourself. And again, you've got multiple locations. Here's my Buffalo location. There's Boston. If I've got rail, there's a Houston rail location. And there I sit. But if I'm interested in seeing what else might be on the platform other than what I have built in my own individual watch list, if you look up here, you'll see Show Active Markets. And when I click Show Active Markets, you'll get this pop-up. And this will show you every single thing that is being listed on the exchange, whether or not you have these on your watch list or not. So this is really handy because, so for example, as I'm scrolling down through here, I say, oh, there's some OSB 4x8 that's being listed. Oh, there's some dry dug fir. I didn't have any of that on my watch list. So I can do a number of things. I can select none of them and only pick the OSB, or I can select all of them. And for now, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to select all. And I'm going to, as soon as I select them, it'll ask, what locations do you want me to copy these to? So in this case, sure, I'm going to take a look at all of these. Now, again, the power of the exchange is not only am I going to copy these to my locations, but each one of these new items is going to get a specific freight rate to those locations. That's the power of the exchange behind the scenes, is we're maintaining all of the different freights between every single buyer on the exchange and every single ship to locations on the exchange. That's a huge, huge thing. So I add these to my selected watch list, and in the background, you will see this kind of churn and work a little bit. You just saw some items start to pop and move here a little bit, and I'll wait for this to populate. Let me scroll this down here. I've got 8 people just entered the room here as well. And now what you've seen is, look at all these new items that have been added to my watch list. So every one of these new items is now on my watch list. And as I scroll through the various different locations, there's Boston. All of this has been added now to my Boston location. It's all been added to my Buffalo location. Again, I can sort this by length. There's all the 8-footers, there's all the 20-footers, 16s, et cetera, et cetera. I can simply sort it by size if I'd like. There's all the 2x4. I can sort it by grade. Is another handy way to do things. I can sort it by species. So now I'm looking at all the dry dug fur. So there's all that new dry dug fur that's now listed in the marketplace that I didn't have on my watch list prior. So that's a huge enhancement. Just wanted to keep reinforcing that with you, because we just want to keep that in front of you. So with that, let me go back to a full screen here. Okay. With that, Joe, any questions for Joe while we have him? Joe Campagna, of course, is our CIO. Joe's on the line. Joe, anything you'd like to add to what I just discussed?
Yeah, Paul, thanks very much. A couple of things just as kind of another housekeeping reminder. As Paul mentioned, you could see that the action on the screen, it's very iterative. You're going to see those little flashes and lines will start to write out one at a time. We've had a lot of people use it this week. In fact, our active markets has added about 20% to all of the items that people have added to their watch list. So we know that people are running it and that it's working. I want to just remind people, as soon as you log in, please wait until you see all 3 tabs. When you see lumber, panel, and stud tabs in the upper right-hand corner, that's the time that you can start interacting with the system. If you do it too early, sometimes what's happened, we have the engineers taking a look. The stud tab isn't being built properly in the upper right-hand corner, and it'll throw an error message. And all you have to do is, if you see it, exit it, let your system refresh, tell your screen to refresh, it'll build all 3 tabs, and then you can progress from there. Again, we are having a lot of activity. Active Markets is bringing a lot of information to people's screens, as Paul mentioned. If there's any questions or comments, or if you see any errors related to Active Markets specifically, please feel free to shoot them to me directly, or contact Paul or Ash or Margaret if need be. But I'm happy to field anything that has to do with Active Markets.
Hey, Paul, real quick, Ash just stuck his head in here, said that some people are waiting to get in.
I don't have anybody on my screen waiting.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I've got everybody in here.
Good.
Okay. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley, who's going to talk a little bit about the market itself, suppliers mill updates, and our trade of the week. Ash, you there?
Yeah, I'm there, Paul. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Hey, I was Sean Stevens from M&M Lumber was trying to get in. I don't know if Sean made it in. He said he was holding. Maybe he's in already.
Let's take a look here. I'll look, but I see him.
Okay, good deal.
Yep.
Good deal. And Jory said had the same problem. Had to use the link from the email, not the one on their calendar. It's the same link though. So I think everybody's in. Okay, great. This week, really good week market-wise. We had a lot of good feedback on our MX broadcasting network. We had some industry experts, Greg Riley from Sitka USA and Matt Beamer from Hampton Affiliates on our Wednesday noon call, talking about how, this market's getting to the point now where it's a really touchy subject talking to people, and I get it, right? I mean, these numbers have gone well beyond where we thought they were. Matt highlighted that their mill, or they had sold 9-footers, 2x4, 104 and 5/8, and 104 and 5/8 can be a 104 1/4 trim in California, 104 and 5/8 in the Midwest and Texas. Sold cars for $1,800 a thousand. Now, just to put that in terms of per piece, that's $11 per piece, right? That's normally $2 to $3 a piece in a normalized historical market, kicking this outlier of the last year out. So it's very, very interesting. And then on yesterday, Matt Lehman and I talked about how the size of a house, and we sized that up on his lumber report. He's got a great report that shows the different values in different areas and what a framing package. There's some great back and forth on the internet and social media. Some people say it's not that big of a value of the house. Some people say it is, but Matt does a good job sizing it up. There's certain trades and certain things that happen like in life that actually make you lean in and like get you really excited about things. This trade that happened yesterday made me feel that way. So we had some new sellers of OSB on there and some existing sellers. And when I saw the person that bought it yesterday, you know, I'm not really privy to give out the name of the person yet until they give us. It's a big buyer, national buyer that I didn't think would ever get on the platform, honestly. Like, and they did this week, and they bought yesterday and had more bids. And that's one of those matches that kind of makes you lean in and go, wow, this is starting to really be something, right? It's the reason you get up every morning early and walk in and do this for years, and you start seeing this happen. So, you know, first, thanks to everybody on here that's helped support us, but we're growing and it's going real good. Our European mills and the other mills and the distributors are supporting us. A lot of European spruce up on the platform today. I suggest using Joe's new feature to add that to your list to look at it. But, you know, my goal is to get more product up there. Forecasting what the market's going to do. No idea at this point. It's gone beyond my wildest expectations. So all I can say is come listen to the experts that we have on talk to at least get their feedback, and look every day what the pricing is doing to get maybe some feedback for you to see what the dynamics of it are. Again, thanks for everybody for using us, and I'll kick it back to you, Paul.
Thanks, Ash. Appreciate it. All right. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Mike Wisniewski, who is going to introduce our guest here this morning, Susan Kirts from Henry Poor Lumber.
Thank you, Paul. I'm really, really excited about having Susan on, and her perspective of our industry. Well, you're going to find out. It's unique, and I think you're going to get a lot out of it. So first, welcome, Susan. Are you there? Oh, she may have to unmute herself. You know, I don't know if we asked Susan if she had a camera today. Paul, can you see if...
I am asking everyone to unmute. So I've got everybody unmuted.
Where?
What's that?
There you
Is that
are.
the thing that came back?
Susan, are you out there?
See, I see Susan's name here.
To be able to call in, they can call in on the Zoom call. A Zoom number to call in, let people call in, sign in. I didn't see it on the thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Susan, it might just be a configuration setting on your desktop. You might have a different speaker or audio selected.
Yep, Susan is unmuted for sure. She's there and her camera is working, but speaker is not. All right.
We're moving to the other office.
And she might have to go sit next to Jay.
Just use the call in on the phone. Zoom.
Worried about me, huh?
Well, okay, let me, I will set Susan up for, you know, the story here up a little bit. So Henry Poor Lumber, as it says at the top, is more than a lumber company. And Susan purchases for more than a lumber company. They also have a industrial pallet, or really it's industrial crating, They're not a pallet shop that makes the same standard 40-inch by 48 pallets. They're doing custom, really engineered products that they're shipping things from Caterpillar would happen to be one of their customers, so large transmissions and stuff like that. In addition, they have a wall panel plant. So the spectrum of products that she needs to buy span from a high-end 2x4 104 and 5/8 stud all the way down to 6x6 number 3 Southern Yellow Pine. So as you can imagine, keeping track of that wide spectrum is pretty challenging. Her background is in accounting, so we know that she can keep it all straight.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Susan.
There we go. We switched computers.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, and you do have a camera. Perfect. Hey,
We
Paul,
do.
if you could flip over to change your screen just to the presenter view so we could, Susan and I can look at each other.
How's that?
Perfect. There we go. So I'm gonna touch on something that Susan and I talked about, and my intention here is really what I want to talk about is, if nobody can tell, Susan is a woman, and Susan is in our industry, which 15 years ago would have been, oh wow, that's so unique. But she and I touched on how far we've come, where it doesn't even occur to me that she should be considered unique in our industry. Susan, you want to just make a quick comment about that?
Yeah, it's come a long way. It's great now.
Yeah, that's so cool. So let's start out with like the strategies that you use in your day-to-day buying, and shameless plug, how MaterialsXchange has fit into that, and what you're liking about the new way you can see the market.
It has made it phenomenal. I encourage everyone, even if you don't have anything or don't ever think you will sell on the exchange, go ahead and sign up to be a seller, because then you can see people's offers, what people are looking for. I have found that to be a tremendous help to kind of gauge where we might be going that week, and I sometimes toss out the highs and the lows and just kind of go in the middle there, but it has helped a lot to kind of gauge where everything is, where the quotes that you get from your normal people are.
Yeah, and the next version, we're already discussing how we can show where what we call it a bid, you're calling it an offer, same thing, where the buyer interest is, so you can gauge how you're doing relative to the rest of the market. So Henry Poor and Susan were some of the first people to embrace selling on the platform. And I didn't tell you this, Susan, but this week I was on a call with the uneducated economist, and we kind of came up with a new phrase. Instead of supply chain, we've created a supply web. And in the current conditions, it's really awesome that supply gets into the industry and it isn't forced to move down traditional straight lines. Now we have a web, and this supply can move around to where the demand, you can get the best margin for your product, meeting the highest demand areas. And you guys have done that, which has been phenomenal. So knowing where the bids are in the market, how does that play into some of your buying decisions or even inventory management decisions?
It helps a lot to know, if you can see that you have 3 or 4 bids or offers in there that are close to that same range, and you have a quote that's well under that's probably going to be a better buy. That quote number is going to be a little more of a profitable. That's what I have found.
So you're actually seeing where you can buy product lower than where the bid on the screen is.
Right. Where the offers, that people are looking, and just from the last, I'd say, month, just what I've noticed it tends to be that, because by the time that, if I do take that buy I had from someone that was lower, I tend to find that by the time it lands here, it was comparative to where the market is. The market's well above where that bid or offer was.
Wow.
So it ends
that's-
up being a better deal.
For sure. That's really pretty cool.
So yeah, it helps a lot is to gauge, for me anyway, to gauge where my numbers are.
Excellent. That's awesome. All right. So in getting ready for the call, we talked about another strategy, and that was your strategy in buying treated wood. So touch on that, because this, I think, this is genius, by the way. I don't know if you really want to tell everyone, but I think it's pretty smart.
Most people, when they think in terms of buying treated, and they buy full truckloads or they buy half a truckload. And normally if you buy in a half truckload, you have to wait until it gets matched with another half. Well, last year when treated just was non-existent, I think the majority of buyers kept thinking in that full truckload thought process, and they were sending POs in full truckloads. What I found that I did that helped, and I know my treater said that it helped them a lot, I might give them 20 or 30 POs that week, and I would break them down to maybe 4 or 5 items on a PO. And what they would do is just print them off and then walk their yard, and whatever they had, they would load. And that's how they build a truck. Where normally if you were just sending over a load, you had certain specifications that it was easier for them to build me a truck to get me material.
Yeah, and I mean, that's phenomenal. Have you continued that same mentality with the
I have. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I can see. And then you could probably ping them and say, well, this one's a little bit hotter than the other ones, but maybe swap out a few items here and there. And
Yes.
That's great. Is treated still crazy pants out there? Or what do you find?
Pricing is, but I'm not having any trouble getting anything.
Well, that's interesting. What about the demand on the treated side?
As far as what we're selling, it's not. The demand from the customers is not up to where it was last year. I would say it's normal pre-2020.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Maybe we would see some pullback on pricing there. All right, so let's change your hat for a second and move to being an industrial product buyer. And this was interesting. Tell us just a little background on what the industrial plant looks like.
Our pallet shop, we aren't your typical pallet shop. They do a lot more custom crates. Their claim to fame is, you might need a specialty crate built and need it tomorrow, and they try to please. So since we don't know what we're going to be building, we might keep 6x6s, 4x4s, that way they have something, because they do have a resale down there. That way they have something they can make something else out of something else. And that tends to go a long way. They do a lot of pallets for like Caterpillar and stuff, big transmissions, big heavy items. It's not just, what your house wrap might come on.
So essentially, you're saying you have this conversion capacity at the plant that can turn something into the product you actually need at the time.
Correct.
All right. So how do you handle the economics of converting a 6x6 into the product you want? If you're doing the comparison, well, I could convert it, or I could just buy it in the open market, the actual product that I want.
If we have a heads up, we actually, we'll shop it and look, see where we're going. Sometimes you don't have a heads up the way we run, being custom and our claim to fame is you need it, we'll get it to you. So you kind of tend to just, if you see a buy on things that we know we just keep around, like on 6x6s or 4x4s, then you go ahead and do buy when you can find it cheaper. And you might have some that sit for a little while out there until they get used, or you might have some that as soon as they come in, you've already got an order for them and right out the door they're going.
Got it. So the term cheaper, which is a weird term in today's world, right? How do you baseline like what you consider market, or, you know, okay, that's expensive, that's cheap. You know, we know what you just said about using MaterialsXchange a little bit to see where some of the other interest is from other buyers. But when it comes to these industrial products, what do you use for your sense of, okay, that looks like a value?
You kind of really have to get your quotes, know where the market is. And in all honesty, it still is all relative to, you know, your number 2 spruce or whatever, just because of the way everything moves up and down. So it's still relative. It's just a different category.
Right. We used to, back when Ash and I were at Block Lumber, we had a term we called relative value. And we would say something is undervalued relative to our baseline, which generally was like a 2x4, 2 and better spruce, or overvalued. So yeah, I understand that term relative value. Do you pay much attention to the futures market?
I do. I normally have the bar chart up, see what's going on for the day. I know enough to be dangerous, not enough to do a whole lot there.
But it kind of goes into the back of your mind.
Yes, yeah, it plays into what I figure on where I'm sitting.
What about the price reports out there? I mean, what's your kind of, how would you factor those in to the whole buying equation?
I still factor them in, still get them, still figure out what my print price would be, what things are. I think it's the same with everyone's opinion. You have to have a whole bunch of opinions, and then you go with what you think will fit for your exact company. It's all guts, and just because we never know what's going to happen. You know, it's just a gut feeling, and take all the information you can get and dwindle it down to what's best fit for your company.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. All right, here, this is coming out of left field a little bit. Do you get a thrill out of buying, and do you get a thrill out of say making a good buy, or for you is it just, this is business, this, you know, this is kind of what I do?
Oh, I go for the deal. Yeah, I like, numbers are my thing. I definitely like it if I get the good buy.
And so let's say you don't get the good buy, you make a mistake. Are you able to shake it off pretty quick, or does this stuff kind of eat at you after a while?
It eats at me for a little while.
So when it eats at you, what did you analyze? Go back and say, okay, what did I miss, or what could I have done?
I do. Yeah. I dream about it, wake up in the middle of the night, can't go back to sleep. Oh yeah.
Seriously?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll walk in some mornings and think, oh, I know how to do this, or know what I can do now to, oh yeah. Yeah, leaving my job at work doesn't happen too often.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here with Jay being on the line as well. Do you have true autonomy? I mean, do you feel comfortable that there's no one is going to come in and beat on you? Like do you work fearlessly, I guess, is a big real question.
Yeah, I do. And I know when I screw up, I screw up. It's going to happen. I'm human. But if I have to go by what my instincts are, I mean, I have to be able, in this game, you have to be able to fly by what you know, what you think. And I mean, we all know as fast as everything's moving right now, if somebody throws an offer your way, if you can't make that split decision right then and there, you don't have the 5 minutes to discuss it.
Yeah, that's really true. Well, kudos to the organization at Henry Poor for creating an environment where you can operate, like that. And, obviously if your role is keeping, you're thinking about it when you are on your way home and have left the job. That Henry Poor's fortunate to have a person like you on board. Absolutely. So let's talk about, I kind of like to wrap things up here. Well, before we wrap it up, what do you see evolving with how you're going to use Materials Exchange? Are you looking for other avenues in your business to try to apply the digital market, or would you like to tell us a few things what you'd like us to have for you?
I really want the app.
Yeah, we're getting to that one. That's the next question, of course. But
Yeah. I'll have to start taking notes and think about that, because there are times when I'll be doing something and I'll think, oh, that would have been nice if this could do that for me. I really can't think of anything off the top of my head.
cool. All right. So here's the question we wrap things up with, and that is, what do you see, or what's tumbling around in your head that you don't think other people are tumbling around with, that's just different going forward in the market?
I really think that this digital is going to be the way everybody ends up going. I still think we're going to all need our contacts just to, I mean, I don't know, like any other buyers out there, I still call people or we'll email back and forth just to get our thoughts, our chatter, what we're thinking, where it's going, what it might be going to do. But I really think digital is going to be the way most people buy.
Yeah,
And I can see the buying groups going this way also.
that's actually an interesting point. Have you found that your relationship with the buying group is different now with the Materials Exchange around?
No, it's still the same. I just consider this another avenue.
Makes your job probably makes you feel like you can be a little more effective with your work.
Yes, definitely helps my numbers. Helps me think about where we might be going.
All right, excellent. And when we were getting ready for the call, you talked about a phone app. So
Yes, most definitely.
Let's say Materials Exchange was on a phone app. Could you see yourself standing in the yard with the phone out, going, okay?
Oh yeah. Yep. Definitely.
And what my vision is, the phone app you're using there, you have that phone app for your outside salespeople, and they're able to on the fly say, whoa, I can quote this, cheaper right now if that's what it's going to take, or wow, I shouldn't take this order because we'll never be able to cover it. So I think that's having that data, market price data availability on the fly for everybody in your organization is going to make a huge difference.
Yes, definitely.
Cool, Susan. Thank you so much. It's refreshing to hear someone with an analytical mind like yourself putting this tool into work, or into their day in and day out. I love it. It's been my vision the whole time. I'm a pretty analytical person, so yeah, I love the fact that we're making a difference for you and your organization.
Yeah,
So,
I really love it. Thank you.
all right, excellent. Thanks.
All right, thanks you guys. That was great. I love the passion when people are dreaming about lumber purchasing in the middle of the night. There's nothing better than that. And just to remind you all that the exchange does open up now at 6 a.m. Central Time. Reminder to the suppliers that to get their material on the exchange early. The earlier the better, so that people can view what's being offered in the market earlier. That just makes for a longer selling day and more material being moved. So with that, I just want to remind everybody, if you've got any comments, questions, or suggestions, send them along. We will read them on the air and we'll share them, of course. And as always, thank you very much.
Paul, if I could just add one last thing real quick.
Sure.
We are in a supply web now. You can be a seller, just like Susan talked about. You want to get the sell side view? reach out to Paul, reach out to whoever your contact is here. It takes a day and you can get the sell side view. And we have no problem giving that to you because we are about transparency, accessibility, and we're here to make your business and your role at your company better.
All right, very good. Well said. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you later.